Cool. Hello and good morning, and welcome to my bi-weekly Apache Spark code review. We're going to be focused on Python today, so we're going to look at some of the Python PRs, and let me go ahead and do some of the intro for why this stuff matters. So this is Holden and Boo's super fun live stream, or what exactly we're going to make today, Adventures in Open Source. We're going to do Spark PR review. We're going to focus on Python PRs. We're going to try and do a Python focus day and a Scala focus day and see if this helps. If you want to ask questions, comment, please do. If you like this, like, subscribe, click the bell, whatever that is. I'm Holden. My preferred pronouns are she or her. Ooh, that cuts off the photo of me. Whatever. And I'm a developer advocate at Google. I work on open source big data at Google, and I'm responsible for doing developer advocacy for a number of things, including Apache Spark, which is offered as a hosted product inside of Dataproc, and you can also run it on top of Google Kubernetes engine, and you can also run it on raw compute instances, and you can also run it places other than Google. It's not just a Google project. I'm on the Apache Spark PMC, and I contribute to a lot of other projects. Some of them are in the ASF, some of them are elsewhere. And I've been at a bunch of different companies, often working with or on Spark. I'm a co-author of some books on Spark, and these are the code review live streams. Boo also uses she, her pronouns. She's my stuffed animal. She travels with me everywhere. I should move this so that you can see her. There we go. There is Boo. She has lots of experience barking at computers to make them go faster. So I'm actually in San Francisco this week. Next week I will be in New Zealand. Kiwi Code Mania. And so come say hi to us there if you happen to be in New Zealand. We'll jump into the code in just a second. I want to talk about why code reviews are important to open source. So actually probably the easiest way to do that is we're going to bring up the Spark PR dashboard. And this is the dashboard that I look at to see what pull requests are being proposed for Spark and figure out which ones I can help with moving them along. So this takes a little bit of time to load because it's just fetching a whole bunch of JSON. Come on, we got the list of stale PRs. I really want the list of open PRs. That's the one that I care about a lot more. Okay, and we can see there are 457 open pull requests. And that's really great. That's really lovely. It's a sign of an active, healthy project. But one of the challenges is, while there's 457 open pull requests, there's maybe about, somewhere between 20 and 50 people who are reviewing these pull requests and can commit them. And so that's a very challenging ratio. So one of the standard advices to people looking to get involved with open source is to, start with doing small code changes. And that's great, and I think that's really lovely. But I think something that's often overlooked is also one of the areas where a lot of open source projects need help is on the review side. And so we've got all of these PRs that need to be reviewed. Now today, we're going to focus on Python. So we're going to go in here, we're going to go over to Python, and we're going to see the proposed changes that are affecting Python and Spark. So one of the things that I've noticed is we've got two pull requests for the same thing, or at least the same description. The JIRA numbers are slightly different. No, the JIRA numbers are the same. Okay. But we have two different pull requests for the same thing. So that's normally a sign that we should take a look at that and figure out what's going on there. We also have this, and this is a thing that I've looked at before. It's by one of my former coworkers, Brian Cutler. He's at IBM. And you can see I was one of the previous people who have commented on this. And this is a thing that I also care about. And it tells us when it was last updated. The committer commented feature is broken, unfortunately. These numbers aren't accurate, but that's okay. Okay, cool. So, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at so this was created 11 days ago. This was also created 11 days ago. Yeah, and so that was Sean's comment. Like, is this related? These are both more or less the same PR, so we don't want to have to review both of them. Although this changes 211 files. Something's gone sideways here. Ooh, yeah, okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so this changes 211 files. There is, I don't want to say no way that's correct, but that seems unlikely to be correct. This looks like it's picked up a whole bunch of unrelated changes. Yeah. Okay. So the one thing that we can do here is just be like, hey, so let's go ahead. And first time contributor, so let's make sure to be happy. Hi, dude. Thanks for the proposed change. It looks like your pull request has picked up some extra changes that aren't intended. 211 files aren't intended. You could try and fix this with git rebase, or just squash all of your changes down into one commit, since that's what we do at merge time anyways, or make a new branch and cherry pick changes, or or another way. If you prefer, just ideally narrow down the commits to the ones related to your actual change, to your desired change. And so that's cool. And that's just like, hey, there's 211 files here. We could spend our time going through this, trying to figure out what's actually intended and what's not intended. I don't want to do that. I don't have a lot of joy in doing that. So I think we're just going to go ahead. Oh, hey Vishal, it looks like my chat box is broken. Vishal, very sorry, I didn't notice this earlier. I'll manually monitor my chat again. Chat browser, whatever. Chat box only works like half the time. Let's not take a look at that. I don't know what that was. Okay, yeah. That was my application for an international driver's license. Did not mean to live stream that. Anyways, hi Vishal. Cool. So yeah, this is a lot of changes that we don't really need. We're just gonna ignore them because it's not related. In this one, this is sort of so these are sort of related. I'm not sure which one to take a look at. It looks like they're sort of reviewing each other's. I'm not sure which one we're going to go with. But at the very least, what I can do, and this code does not look malicious. Yeah. Also a first-time contributor. Okay. Jenkins, okay to test. We could go ahead and review this, given that the other one is in kind of a confusing state. Yeah. But let's take a look here. Mean average precision at K. Metrics to range metrics. Mean average precision. Truncated at position K. If this query has an empty ground truth set, the value will be 0. Actually, the other thing that we could do is we can go ahead and suggest. Wait, are these both created by the same person? No, these are created by different people. Or we can just use the other PR as our base. do. Okay, so we'll go ahead. What? Okay. So, mean average precision truncated at position k. If the query is an empty ground truth set, the value will be 0, and a log warning is generated. So, prediction, label set, if label set to set, lab set equals lab.toSet. If lab set is not empty, I can't. N is math.min pred length k. Predicate rank the number of relevant items. Oh, cool. There's a Twitch comment. Yay! Hi, friend. And thanks for subscribing with Twitch Prime. X. Okay. So, this is the okay, let's go look up the Jira, because I'm not entirely sure what our goal is here. So we're going to go ahead and bring that up on Jira. Oh yeah, Spark Jira. There's a lot of Jiras. And so we go in here. Okay, so sometimes Jira is kind of slow, especially the ASF Jira. So we might just push this one off for a minute and come back to it once Jira loads, and we can take a look at the logic here. So let's take a look at what the latest is with Brian's PR. So for some context, this ostensibly it fixes an error when toLocal iterator goes out of scope, but it does much more than that. It also fixes issues with us eagerly evaluating all of the data when the documentation for toLocal iterator says that we only evaluate one partition at a time inside of Python. So this is good and an improvement. Lovely. So Brian asked myself, Virya, Hushin, and Hyokon. I should figure out how to pronounce his name properly. He's really lovely. One of the people that does a lot of work here as well. To see if we agree with the new approach. So let's go ahead and spend our time taking a look at what the new approach is. So here we go. So he's written a new function in Scala to support the Python function. And that's cool. So it's a helper function to create a local RDD iterator and serve it via socket. Partitions are collected as separate jobs by order of index. Partition data. Yeah. This seems pretty reasonable. As before, this makes an input and an output stream, and then it will iterate on this. And there's some additional overhead because we wait for a request to come back from Python. But that's okay. We talked about that. Yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, I think that's okay for now. We might get another error, and I think that's reasonable. Close tab. Cool. I think that's reasonable. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go start review, and then tell the system that we got an error, send the error message over, and set it to completed. Otherwise, say that we're done when we're done. Okay. Okay, cool. How are we doing here? Create local socket. Yeah, RDD materialization time is unpredictable. And that just means that it can take different amounts of time to compute a partition, because partitions can be very different sizes, and they can take very different times to create based on things that are not necessarily controlled inside of Spark, right? They're sort of dependent on the jobs that you're asking Spark to run. So what we do is we request the next partition, and then if there's a partition, we read it for each item, we yield it. Looks reasonable. Otherwise, if we have an error, raise the runtime error with the error message from Java. Looks reasonable. Yep, this looks all fine. Cool. So here we go. So we've got these new tests. So test to local iterator. Seems fine. Local iterator not fully consumed. This one ended up as I made a suggestion to Brian about a way that he could test it, but it was a little too complicated, so it was sort of pushed off. This is really nice. Managed to get rid of the sleeps because there's less sort of sketchy code. This is really nice because this is a thing that we'd suggested to Brian in a previous review, and that was. Oh wait, no, is this? No, this is not quite it, but yeah, this is the test that we suggested to Brian in a previous review, and that is that toLocalIterator previously consumed everything, but with the new proposed changes from Brian, it will only consume a small slice, and so that's what's happened here. Is essentially it will fail on the last element, and by parallelizing this and only consuming the first elements, we assert that it's not going to cause an error, and that's really good. I'm really excited to see this change. All in all, this looks good to me, and that's really nice and important. Looks good to me is kind of like the sign off. I mean, we're not like real engineers, right? Where like if we do this wrong, a bridge is going to collapse. But LGTM means like I think this is good, and like if it goes wrong, like I'll deal with the fallout later. I mean, you don't have to. Looks good to me. Pending others' comments. Of course. Although no one else has anything to say, let's go with it. And that's so LGTM is looks good to me. Oh right, I had started a review, so I should go back here into files changed, finish my review. Looks good to me. Approve. And that is that. Now, obviously, one of the things that you can see is like normally I wouldn't be able to do a looks good to me that quickly, but we've gone back and forth on this for about a month, right? And we've had comments about what the right approach is iteratively, and so I think this is very reasonable, and I look forward to this being merged soon. Cool. So that's great news as well. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go over here. Fix repr behavior for rows. Lovely. Oh, hey, look, I found the Kindle on my... oh, it's not charged. Okay. Cool. So this PR is meant to replace this other PR, which laid dormant for a while. The solution in the original PR is still valid, so this is just a patch that rebases onto the current master. Okay, cool. So this is exciting. We can go take a look at the previous PR as well, and we can see where it was left off, and that was just like, hey, what's up? I'll go ahead and do this. And so that's great. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the proposed change. Oof, sorry. Yeah, this is the old behavior. The old behavior is not great. Yes. I don't know. Yes. Yeah, interesting. So, we can see another reviewer is involved with this one, and there's a comment that one of the tests does not work in Python 3. So let's go ahead and we're going to go and take a look at the files that are changed. Okay, yeah. So, indeed, this form of creating row objects is probably rarely used and should be I think this, yeah, this is reasonable. We double check that this works fine. Yeah, that looks more or less reasonable. Printing the repr strings is in Python 2 is not great. I don't want to backport this. I feel like backporting this is going to break people's tests. And that's just like this change here. This change here is going to break people's tests. I think it totally makes sense to do in Spark 3, but I'm not sure about the backport. I think this is the right behavior though. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do review changes. No, not what I want. Again, looks good to me. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks, Zubiar. How are you doing, Zubiar? Looks good to me. Thanks for the change. For backporting, you can open a PR to the branch 2.4 and branch 2.3. We could also backport during the merge, but I think it makes sense to have a discussion around the backporting separately, since it may break folks' doc tests. Okay, so I can't spell very well. Thankfully, not a requirement. Oh yeah, I'm so excited you're starting to learn Scala. This one's, a Python focused PR review, but I intend to do a Scala focused one as well pretty soon. So that's great. Okay. And so this is like, this looks good. I'm gonna go back through these comments here, and just make sure that everything looks good. Is this okay? Field to fields. Yeah. Field for field in self. Yep, that's. Yep. We've got the non-ASCII character task as well, and we've. Okay, can we add a doc test for this usage? Yep. We've got that as well. So this looks good. That's exciting because I think following the book Scala in action, lovely. That's really awesome. I think this is good. I think we can go ahead and we can merge this, and we can, yeah. People's doc tests might break in a Spark 3 upgrade, but that's okay, right? Like, minor formatting things can totally change. Programming in Scala. Interesting. Who wrote that book? Programming in Scala. Oh yeah, I recognize that book. Bill Venners and Morton Hardisky. Awesome. Yeah, I remember that book. The cover definitely just reminded me 100%. I also got a message that says I missed a phone call just now. Really hope I didn't agree to do a 9 a.m. phone call with someone. But I do that pretty often because I'm not so good. Oh, I need to go in. Anyways, okay, sorry, back to computers. Super happy fun times. It's 9:56 a.m. Let's go ahead and submit this review. So this is really exciting because this code is good, right? Like, I don't have any changes that I need. Yeah, I think this is fine. I'm okay with everything here. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to merge this PR. And that's great. Or at least I think that's great. I get so excited when I get to merge PRs. It really makes my day because I feel like I've accomplished something. And that's, that's nice, right? So, okay. Do I have anything? I get diff. Cool. What branch am I on? Cool. Ooh. Oh, right. I was testing something out in 242 RC1. That's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up the Apache GitHub master. And that's just because we change... Oh, how do you check the style or linting of the PR? That's a great question. So for the most part, I depend on Jenkins to check the linting. And that what happened here, it was run inside of this. But if I'm making my own PR, or definitely, actually, there's a problem where the linter wasn't being run properly inside of Jenkins for changes affecting Kubernetes. One of the things I can do is I can go ahead and check out the PR itself. I think I have hub installed on this machine. Okay, I do. So I go ahead and I do hub checkout, and then I give it the pull request, and then I can go ahead and I can run dev lint python, and this will lint python. Now it might actually give me a bunch of errors because I'm not doing it inside of a virtual env, and yeah. Oh, actually, let's run git status. Is that? Oof. Okay. Shell.py. Okay. That's weird. So, I mean, these linter error messages, it's not great, and I should probably take a look at this at some point in time. But they're not from this proposed PR, right? So we're just gonna skip them for now. Now, if this was triggering inside of the proposed PR, we'd definitely take a look at it. And if I was working on my own PR right now, I'd probably stop to go and fix these error messages. But I'm not, and I'm kind of lazy. And I want the win of merging this person's PR. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So we go back to our master. I'm gonna push this to my personal fork, just to keeps my life easier. And then I'm gonna go ahead and we have this merge Spark PR script, and it's really convenient. And it says I don't have my Jira username and password set up, and that's because I don't trust it. Or more accurately, like the Jira scripts aren't very good, and they occasionally don't do what I want. Oh, and it's lovely. It's this person. It's their first pull request in Apache, so that's really lovely. Oh, thanks for making your first pull request to Spark. Okay. So merge to master. Do you have the Jira username? I can assign the issue to. Now that it's cool. And that's just like, hey, there's a new contributor. That's awesome. It's possible they do have a Jira account already set up. It's possible they don't. We're gonna go ahead. Well, first we're going to merge this because it's in good shape and, you know, the world changes. So let's go ahead. Pick this one up. That looks reasonable. Yes. Cool. This looks like the right person for the primary author, and we're going to go ahead and say yes, push to Apache. My username is Holden, but I don't remember my password. I keep it on inside of LastPass. And that's just, you know, because memories are hard, and yeah. Oh, lovely. Okay, and so now I'm going to go ahead, open up LastPass, and so this is one of the things that committers can do. And I want to be really clear: you can do these reviews without being a committer, right? Now you can't go ahead and do this part where I'm merging it, but you can give feedback on pull requests without having to be a committer, and that's really useful. So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up my Apache password. I'm not going to share it with you. That one's just for me. I did share it actually once, and I had to change the password. I don't think that's it. Okay, no. Yeah, this one. Okay. And so one of the reasons why it's taking me a bit of time is the ASF actually has a bunch of so for example, Jira, I have a separate account on Jira, and I have different passwords for these things. So it takes me a second to figure out which password it is I want to get from LastPass to be able to do this. Hopefully I got the right one. Looks like I did, so that's really great. And that's cool. We're going to go ahead and we're going to hit OK. And sends the notification emails. This is really great. And this is the part where if we wanted to backport it right now, we could go ahead and say yes. But since backporting it might break people's workflows and their doc tests in the branches, I don't want to do that personally. If it's infrequently enough used, it might be okay to backport, but I think we should have a separate conversation around whether or not this gets backported. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press no, and that means that it's just going to go into the Spark 3 stuff. And so, you know, we're not going to go ahead and put it into the next Spark 243 or whatever, because people want to be able to upgrade that really easily without having to change a lot of their code. So this gives us a Jira number, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back to Jira. It looks like the ASF Jira is in a bit of a weird place. Normally, this would show me some things. So let's go ahead. Once again, LastPass, we can see, I think this is the one. I actually have multiple ASF Jira accounts because I screwed up once upon a time. Okay, cool. It looks like it's working. That's good. It's probably just a hiccup earlier. And so this is great. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to resolve this issue. Fixed. It's only fixed in 3. Merge fix for this. 3. We can continue the discussion around backporting and update the fixed version if we do backport. And so this is just my way of saying, like, hey, I'm marking this as resolved. It's fixed for 3. I don't think it's like necessarily the end of the discussion, but you know, if we were to cut the release today, we'd want to mention that this was resolved in 3. So we definitely want to put that in there. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave this comment in here. And that's going to be good. Let's actually see, maybe they've commented on this issue as well. I don't see any username which matches the GitHub username. That's normally what I do for sort of taking a look at that. Is there some type of plugin configured? Yeah, that's true. So if we look here, when it says sending email notifications, that I believe is happening inside of. Oh, actually, yeah. So this is coming from the remote. So I don't know. Gitbox email. I don't know. We can look that up really quickly. That's a good question. But let me finish this comment first really quickly, just so that you know. Your first pull request to Spark at TBCS. Cool. And let's look up. So GitHub, Gitbox, emails. GitHub, Gitbox, commit emails. We'll go ahead. Apache, Gitbox, Git emails. So I don't know. I guess is the long and the short of it. My guess is it's something. What's this? New service. Looks like Gitbox is the one that's sending the emails. And so, oh, interesting. This looks complicated. I don't. Okay. License files make me nervous. Oh, this is a web UI. I don't know if this is the same thing. I feel like this is a different Gitbox. Ooh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is the Jira client stuff. So we have something along this lines inside of Spark, and that's happening inside of our merge script. But it looks like the emails, email. Okay, sending. Here we go. Is this the? Clean 87. Okay. This is probably outside of the scope of what I want to really dig into on Python Day, but we can go ahead and revisit that as well in a little bit. And so that's cool. We got one PR merged. We took a look at Brian Cutler's PR and gave some approval there. And this is really good. And if you want to get involved, right, it's pretty easy. You can go to sparkpr.appspot.com. You can go, you find pull requests that are things that you care about, and you can leave comments on them about how they can be improved, right? And this is really good, and it makes it a lot easier for people like me who are doing the final review and merge to have confidence that the code is already pretty good. And actually, one of the things that you can do is, for example, if someone's having difficulty with the linter or things like that, as you can help them out. And so, one of the things we could do, for example, if we wanted to help some contributors out, is we could look at the things which are failing in Jenkins and see if we can go and take a look and find a way to help them. And then all kinds of different things in here. This is one of my own PRs from a long time ago. But that's been about half an hour, so I think we're gonna sort of wrap up at this point unless there's any more questions. I'm just gonna check on Twitch really quickly. I don't see any new questions on Twitch. I don't see any new questions on the YouTube stream. So thanks everyone for joining me. I hope you've learned more about how you can contribute to open source projects by doing code reviews, and I'll be doing this again with more of a Scala focus, and we can sort of see how that works. If you're interested, another thing that you can do, actually just before I go, is you can go ahead and you can try our release candidates really easily, and this is really useful. The release candidates are posted to the development list, and when you try release candidates with your own workflow, you can catch errors that we've made that could impact you in production and give us feedback earlier on so that those errors won't propagate all the way through. Because during the release phase is the time that we can go back and make changes. So for example, if we merge this change and it's breaking your doc tests, you could let us know that it was breaking your doc tests, and we might revisit whether or not that should be backported or only in Spark 3. And so thanks. I'm really glad this was interesting. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. It's Monday here, so I'm going to go ahead and grab another cup of coffee and just keep that ball rolling. Thanks everyone for joining.